more on this, we do want to bring in Will Graham, Executive Vice President of the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, currently volunteering in Texas to help victims of the disaster. Appreciate you being here, and I understand that your organization arrived in the area just hours after the flooding. We were just hearing from Chrissy. I know you've been helping so many individuals like her. What is on your mind? What is on your heart tonight?
Well, I appreciate that, Natasha. It's been real interesting since I've been here, what I've just got to see and witness. And your last guest, that there's a lot more stories just like hers of unbelievable survival, how they made it, how God got them out of their house just in time. And I heard those stories myself. I mean, this is a storm that came up so quick. I live in Asheville, North Carolina. We just went through Hurricane Helene, so I've seen some devastation, but this one is just so localized and it's so catastrophic. There was a lot more rain and water coming down than we had in Helene, and it's just right here on the Guadalupe River around in Kerr County. And it's just a wall of devastation everywhere you look. And there's tons of volunteers working, not just the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association of Samaritan's Purse, but there are just hundreds and hundreds of volunteers from different organizations all chipping in and trying to help and trying to minister and to help alleviate some of the pain that this county's gone through in the last couple of days.
And as you mentioned, I mean, this flood was so terrible in magnitude and so particularly deadly. We understand there are about 127 flood deaths a year in the entire country. This is according to the National Weather Service, but these Texas floods, of course, have already taken far more lives than that. Can you give us perspective of what this tragedy looks and feels like on the ground?
Well, it's some of the worst devastation I've seen. Now, Helene was a lot more broad, like it covered a greater area. But the destruction I've seen here and how high it got is just unfathomable. Homes that you would think were a long ways off. Matter of fact, I was talking to one lady, and her cat woke her up. Her cat woke her up, so she went out to let the cat out. And when she went outside, it was lightning. And when it was lightning, she could hear the river, but then she could see the river when the lightning went off. And guess what? It was coming up like she's over 100 yards away from the river, and it's already coming up to her step. The time she turned around and got into her house, it started already coming in. You're talking like 6 inches, like almost every few seconds, 6 inches of water was coming in. And it happened so quick that she couldn't even get her mom out of the house. By God's grace, her mom lived inside the house, and she floated on a mattress until the next day when they could come and rescue her.
Wow.
And she couldn't even rescue her own mom. But both of them are fine. Both of them are safe. So is the dog. So is the cat. So if anybody was wanting to know, they all made it. And it's just unique stories of survival that's taking place. And we're just grateful that we can have an opportunity here to pray with people, to talk with people, just cry with people when they need to. And like you said, you've seen the devastation of how many deaths there are. There's how many people die a year just died in one town on one day. And that's just unheard of. I've just never seen things like this. And Helene was horrific, but this is even far worse than the numbers of deaths than we'll see in Helene. So this is
and let me ask
something
you
that was huge.
about the human toll as well. We know, in addition to the victims, of course, you've been working directly with law enforcement, with first responders who are just pulling these 12, 16-hour days. We know these tragedies obviously impact, the victims and their families, but can you talk about the impacts on the first responders that you've been seeing?
Yeah, we do. We have some of our trained chaplains to work along with law enforcement, just to pray with them and to minister to them, because we talked to one and he said he had to pull out, he found 5 bodies. And he said, I'm just so grateful that it wasn't a child, because he's got a small little child himself. And there's stories like that. This is stuff that they're seeing and they're dealing firsthand for the rest of us, and it takes a toll on them. And so we have specially trained chaplains that work just with law enforcement. They're law enforcement themselves, and they're sitting there ministering hand in hand with them, just praying with them, talking through it with them, and just trying to help them go through all this, because they're the ones that are finding all the stuff that you and I don't want to see, unfortunately.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.